coming up.
So what does Lindsey do for fun?
I'm working on it. I'm going.
This is such a realtor answer.
like,
I would give the same thing. What do you do for fun, Adam? I have no idea.
Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast. The unfiltered real estate podcast where four agents share real life stories from their careers in the crazy world of real estate. Now welcome Alan, Viv, Matt, and Adam.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast, Season 2.
Season two.
And our sponsor, Legacy Brew. Thank you so much, Legacy, for coming back again. And today we have a very special guest.
Huge.
Lindsey.
Massive.
Lindsey Jo. Welcome to the Subject Free Podcast.
Hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm so
Thanks
happy
for
to be
coming.
here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. We have followed you for a while. You have joined Real Broker, which we are both a part of. And when you came on, it was kind of exciting because you have a very big presence with Broke Agent Media, which we will go into in a bit. But let's just kind of start.
Yeah, I mean, we used to watch her on Broke Agent Media.
I think
was
so,
like,
yeah.
Who's that hot girl? It was like,
And then she came on over and we're
I know,
like,
we're like,
perfect.
all right.
Yeah, let's do
Game
it.
time.
So let's start just basically at the very beginning. So what were you doing before real estate, and why did you make the move, and how was that for you when you jumped over?
Yeah, I love that question. So I got into real estate almost 9 years ago. Got into it because of my ex. So at the time when I met my ex, he was a little bit older than me, like 17, almost 18 years older. And I was a nanny at the time, and he had like a very established friend group that were also older, and they were all making a lot of money, and I felt embarrassed by my job. And so I thought, what can I do quickly to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time without a college degree, because I dropped out of college. And so I just kind of fell into real estate, never had a backup plan. And then here we are almost 9 years later.
Killing it.
Yeah, that's the story. For a long time, too, I was kind of embarrassed of that story because I feel like you hear a lot of realtors that say, oh, like my mom was a realtor and it was like the family business, or I just like loved interior design. And like those stories are great. It's just not my story. And so I was kind of ashamed to tell that story for a long time, but I feel like it's my story, and so I should be proud of it.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. I mean, everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own path. I mean, I've lived like 15 different lives, and the reason I got into real estate is so I wouldn't work nightclubs anymore, so I would not abandon these dogs that I saved. That was the reason.
Yeah.
And now I've been in real
love
estate
that.
for almost about the same time. So, and it's been amazing.
So what were those early days like for you? Because I know, and we talk to agents all the time that are getting into the business now, and it's not easy. It's not what you think it is. I mean, you're talking about friends making a lot of money. That can happen, but you know, the majority, that's not the case. So tell me a little bit about how that first year or so went for you.
Yeah. My first year, I think I sold maybe 6 houses. I think anybody getting into real estate should know the first year you're not going to make any money. Second year, you might make a little bit of money. And the third year is really when things kind of start to take off. But I was really fortunate. I joined a team. I was actually on that same team up until November of last year when I actually joined Real Brokerage. So it was just me and one other person, team lead, for like 7 years, almost 8 years, just the two of us.
Wow.
Yeah. And then finally made the jump and went solo on my own when I switched over to Real. So,
And now you got
it was
over
great.
100 agents that you've brought over?
Yeah, 104.
Wow.
Just checked my app. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So what was your kind of secret sauce? Why did people start to work with you? What did you double down on that was the Lindsey Jo way of doing things?
In terms of real estate sales?
In terms of real estate sales, yeah.
Yeah. I think that I just have always had like the hustle and drive to kind of succeed, which is kind of a cliche answer, but I think that I just was willing to work really hard and do things that people weren't willing to do. I think that, I got started in online leads as well. So Zillow leads, Realtor.com leads, really learned how to convert those. So I've closed a little over 70 million in just online leads alone in the last
Wow.
like 8-ish years.
Wow.
And really have nailed down like how to convert them really well. I think everybody has a favorite lead pillar, and online leads
Yeah.
are definitely mine for sure.
Amazing.
But I think that everybody's kind of looking for the secret sauce, and I think the secret sauce is just you have to work hard.
Yeah.
Which hate saying that. I wish I had like a crazy tactical tip that's going to blow everybody's mind, but like, pick 3 things in your business that you want to focus on and just go all in.
Totally. And I think that's
we
what
make
people.
it a little harder than we need to.
Yeah, and I think a lot of new agents lack that because they see something like Selling Sunset, or they see all these TV shows, and we've experienced it where a lot of new agents are coming in and they're just like, "Hey, why aren't I getting anything handed to me?" It's like,
Yeah.
you kind of got to work. So bravo, good on you, amazing.
Hey.
So what was the online leads? What, not to give away the full playbook, but how did you learn to convert them? Was it a lot of trial and error? Is it, is it cadence on the phone? Is it following scripts? Like, what is how did you go from I'm bumbling this to, I kind of got this?
Yeah. So in terms of online leads, especially with Zillow leads, I have a 100% ALM score on Zillow, which is appointment, location, motivation. So that's Zillow's AI that listens in on your phone calls and tracks everything. So I ask for the appointment first. So literally from the beginning of the phone call, when I get on the phone with somebody, I'm like, "Hi, is this John?" And they say, "Yeah." "Hi, John. This is Lindsay with Real Broker. It looks like you wanted to tour 123 Main Street. When would you like to see it?" So I'm always asking for the appointment first. I think a lot of times we try to build that relationship up front, but their motivation on the phone call is just to go see that white kitchen that they saw online. It's not really about us, and I think a lot of times we make it about us.
Sure.
So it's literally get the appointment and then get off the phone. And then I have Real Scout as well, which is kind of like a sexier MLS that integrates with Zillow. So everybody that comes into my database automatically is set up on a property search automatically, so I don't have to do anything on the back end. So that's really helpful. I also do a handwritten card and a Trader Joe's snack for every single online lead that I meet, which is kind of insane. But there's like a method to my madness. So I literally write in the card, "Hi, Kate. So excited about the possibility of potentially helping you find your new home." And I just keep it really casual. I keep that treat, that little like Trader Joe's treat, in the card in my car. And then on the last showing that we see after the last showing, I'll walk out with them to my car so that they can see my car and my branded license plate, which I don't know. Have you guys seen my license plate?
No.
You haven't? Oh man, it's like in every single one of my videos. It's like a funny thing. Like it's like a funny joke.
Okay.
But my license plate is REELTA, so it's Realta.
Okay.
Which is kind of cringy, but I want them to see that this is not a part-time job for me, because like what psychopath would have a branded license plate if they weren't actually serious about
For sure.
selling real estate? And then I also want them to see that I have a luxury car, which
It helps.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
helps.
It
I wish it didn't.
Yeah. But it's reality.
But it does.
Yeah.
So there's a
totally.
method to my
See,
madness.
I mean, we're in the mentorship program that Real set up in BC. I'm not sure if you guys have it where you are, but we talk about this all the time. Real estate's not a job, it's a lifestyle. You have to just go full on in. There's no part-time. There's no, I'm going to do, some things for a week or two and then kind of do something else. Like that system that you just talked about is brilliant, because it really goes from 0 to 100 in terms of working with somebody, and it differentiates you from everybody else, and it shows that you're in this to sell homes, which is at the end of the day what we're all here for. So
all these systems you have, are they automated? Because I mean, you pump out content like there's no tomorrow, and it's crazy how much stuff you have coming out, and it's all amazing stuff. So
Thank you.
how do you manage all that? Do you have assistants? Do you have like just a whole big team behind you?
I only have a TC right now.
Okay.
I think eventually maybe a VA, but I mean, the content side for me doesn't feel like work at all. And we can get into that a little bit too, but I think if you're creating content and it feels like a job, then you're not creating the right type of content.
For sure.
Like we already have a job, I always say, and our job is selling real estate, and that job isn't always super fun. So your content should be fun. And if it's not fun, you're going to burn out on it. And you don't want to burn out because you need it to be sustainable.
So there's fun. I mean, I have fun with my content. Adam that has fun with his, but the production value. I think that's the biggest aspect, right? And like your production is, amazing. So it's like, how do you manage all this? Where's your time? And you're still selling a boatload of homes and then doing these things you're doing. So it's like, do you have like 58 hours in a day? It's crazy.
I don't have much of a life. I am trying to work on, a little bit of the balance for sure. But at the same time, I love creating content and I love filming. So it's like, that's what I would love to be doing every second of the day. So for me, it feels like I've got real estate and then I've got the girls that I've brought over to Real who I love, who also helping them every day does not feel like work. And then the content that I'm creating that also doesn't feel like work. So really, I just feel like it's the real estate piece that's more of like a job aspect. But I do try to stack announcement videos. So if people are flying in for videos, I'll try to stack 3 or 4 in a day, or at least like 2 in a day. And I try to batch record too as well. And then, but I have different videographers for different things. So I feel like they all have their own skill set. So I've got a funny videographer that I'm going tomorrow to film with, and we'll crank out like 3 or 4 clips. Then I've got like the announcement video guy who's like very dramatic. And then I've got a talking head clip kind of guy that has a studio in DC that I can pop into whenever.
Nice.
So this is what I mean by when I say it's a lifestyle, because this is like you've got all these different buckets that you put people in. You got the car branded. You've got the Trader Joe's snacks. You've developed systems. Like this is done over time and not 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. This is constantly doing. And you spoke about balance a little bit, and we'll get to that in a second. But all this stuff that you're doing and building and refining leads you into a partnership with Broke Agent Media, which we all know. We know in Canada, and obviously they're huge in the States. Great, great partnership that you've established. How did that come to fruition? Tell me a little bit about that story.
Oh, I love this question so much. So it's kind of a long story, but Ed Stulak, do you know who that is?
Yep.
He had a 15-minute social chat. I don't know if he still has it on his Instagram profile anymore, but he had offered like a 15-minute chat, social media chat, to try to improve your social media. Jumped on a call with him, and he looked at my page and he said, "You're very influencer-esque, but it's not authentic, and it's not silly, and it's not funny." And he was like, "I promise you, your account will grow if you create like silly and kind of funny content." And so I just listened to him. I was like, what do I have to lose? I filmed a silly Mean Girls reel with 2 of my friends. And that's another tip too, is that if you're scared to get in front of the camera, I always say like go film with 2 friends or 1 friend, because if you fail or if you flop, you're flopping together and it's less scary. So filmed this silly reel with 2 friends. Broke Agent saw it, picked it up, and put it on his Instagram page, on Broke Agent, the actual Broke Agent page. And then I noticed that he started watching me a little bit. So he would be watching my stories. And I was like looking at that, like, every day to see, okay, is Eric looking at this? Is Eric looking at this? And he watched me for a couple months. And then he eventually asked me to go on the walkthrough podcast with Dan O'Neill. And I bombed that episode so bad.
I saw you say that into him recently.
Bad.
Yeah, so bad.
So wait, for people who don't know, why did it bomb?
Yeah,
Why do you think
how do you
it bombed?
bomb a podcast?
Oh my God. I was in such a different place then, like mentally. I don't feel like I had the confidence to even go on there. I felt very much like an imposter. Like, what have I done to be on here? Like, I created one kind of funny piece of content, and now you're asking me to go on the walkthrough. And it was 3 dudes that all knew each other. So it was Massive Agent, who has come over to Real as well, Dan O'Neill, and Broke Agent. And so they all were buddies. And so I just felt it was just really, 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 really bad. Like, I think I maybe said 2 or 3 words. And that episode lives rent free in my brain forever. But I knew So bad.
But
I
he said
knew
he
though,
saw
like,
potential, right? We saw the potential. in you,
yeah,
is what
he
said.
did. He did. But I also knew that if I could get like 100 comments on that episode, like if I got my every single person that I knew in my life to go comment on that episode, that they would bring me back and I'd have like a redemption episode. So I did.
Redemption episode.
Nice.
Literally, I sent it to everybody and I was like, please just go comment on this and just say, we love Lindsey.
Right.
And so they did that and they brought me back and I was better that next time. But
Yeah.
I've thanked Eric so many times, like, thanks for bringing me back because I wouldn't have brought myself back. And you're right. He did say, like, we saw some potential in you. So,
So then does that
yeah.
lead to like a more formal partnership, and what does that look like? Because you're
Yeah.
obviously on their email
Yep.
thread and all that. So like, what does that
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. So I just think the world of BAM. Like, I'm like BAM cult girl all the way. And so I knew that I wanted to get in early with them. And so they have BAM contributors and BAM creators. And so the creator status is like kind of the ultimate status. So there's 13 creators in the US and Canada, like Matt Leonetti, Dan O'Neill, Tom Toole, like really like bigger names. And so I knew that I wanted to become a creator. So I kind of like set this goal for myself that that's what I wanted to focus on. So I started writing weekly blog posts for them for 7 months until they asked me to become a creator. So I just like put in the work
Yeah.
and just assumed like that I already had the spot before it was ever offered to me. And I didn't even know if I was honestly on their radar. Because they didn't really tell me anything. Like they were just like, they're so appreciative and so thankful for my blog post. But I made sure that I never missed a Monday article. So I wrote them for 7 months without knowing if they were going to ask me to come on as a creator. And then eventually they did. And yeah, I'm just super, super thankful. So I am now BAM creator with them and like exclusively under contract with them. And yeah. it's
That's
just-
amazing.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, now you've got BAM creator on your resume. You've got all your socials that you're doing. You're selling homes, which is, it almost
Yeah.
takes a back seat, but it doesn't because that's the golden goose. How do you manage it all?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Do you
That's a
have
great
time
question.
for a personal life? How do you separate? Do you put
Yeah.
your phone away? I mean, how does this affect, your day-to-day life, personal life wise?
Yeah. I do go to Soul Cycle 4 times a week. That's like my time. I have to make sure I get that workout in. I go really early in the morning before my phone starts ringing. But I mean, I honestly love like that suffocating feeling of being so busy and feeling like there's always something to do. Like somebody needs something from me 24/7. I like that.
Yeah.
Is that going to be sustainable forever? No, but that's why I joined Real.
No,
And this is
totally.
not like a real plug,
No.
but that's why I joined Real is to eventually, hopefully, be able to replace selling a bunch of real estate with, revenue share.
Yeah.
For sure.
So,
Yeah,
No, and it
it's-
makes sense. I mean, that's the model. It's there to benefit us. And I mean,
Right.
at the end of the day, we all the ones who stick around and are successful kind of burn the candle at both ends. I mean, you do it, I do it. I'm up at like 3, 4 a.m. texting him scripts. It's crazy.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I get it totally.
And do you
Yeah.
find, I mean, not to go too personal, but
Yeah.
do you find that this interferes with your personal life? And I guess what I'm kind of more going towards with this is how do you feel about, because a lot of people are very private. They don't want to put their struggles. They don't want to put how they feel about, what's going on, whether that be at work or their personal life or anything, on camera for everybody to see, because let's face it, it's not really your job. Like, your job is to sell homes. It's not to tell the world how you're doing, but you're very authentic with your content. As Ed was saying, you're very genuine with who you are. Take me or love me, whatever, doesn't matter to me. This is who I am. How do you do that? How do you feel comfortable putting that all out there for everybody to see?
Yeah. You guys have the best questions. I've been on a million podcasts and these questions are like top tier. No, I love this question so much. I think that it stems from, my mom's diagnosis with Alzheimer's. during that time, I was scrolling social media and feeling very depressed. Like our industry is such a highlight reel. We're constantly seeing just listeds, just solds. Nobody's ever having a bad day. I felt so depressed while scrolling social media while going through that rough time. And it was also kind of a rough year for me sales wise as well. So I didn't know who to go to for help, you know? And so what happened though is I realized during that time that nobody was really showcasing the authentic side of real estate or like the real side of being a realtor. And so I always say like we're most powerfully positioned to serve the person that we once were. I need to be that agent that I needed during that time when I was scrolling depressed, when everything looked so perfect for me on the surface. Like if you scrolled my Instagram feed, you wouldn't feel like anything was wrong.
Yeah.
But I was really hurting and struggling. And I know there are so many other women out there that feel just like how I felt. And so
And men.
that,
And men. Yep.
yeah, and yeah, very true. And that's who I show up for. So I think a lot of times we get in our head about posting. I switch the focus. So instead of me saying, I'm scared to share this video about my separation from my husband of 10 years, or I'm scared to share this, you know, post about my mom's illness or whatever it might be, I switch the focus and I say, there's a girl out there that needs to see this post. Like what woman needs to see this post? Who am I serving in this moment? And then it's not about me. It's who am I impacting in that moment? And so that's, I would encourage anybody who's afraid to show up on social to switch that mindset.
So now my question to you is, because going through something similar as you, and when I was going the same type of direction as you, I got yelled at to take it all down by that other person.
By who?
By that other person. So.
Oh yeah, you know, I think that there's a balance. I think that I don't know, that's a tough question for sure. I think that for me, I just know that there's other girls that need to see it.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't want to say that I don't care about the feelings of it. I think that I've tried to share it in a way that was respectful by just not sharing too many details, but just letting people know what's going on, and then they can reach out to me.
Totally.
Like from that separation video that I posted, I got over 1,000 DMs.
Wow.
Which is just insane. But like, I love it because you have so many people that are watching you that you're impacting that you don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, if people feel like there's someone there with them, someone going through the same thing, you're like, you're not alone in this.
Yeah, I mean, I'll change it to you. I mean, how did you feel? I mean, you posted some stuff that was very vulnerable when you were going through the early days.
Yeah.
And, you know, did you ever think, you know, this is too much, or nobody wants to hear about this, or, you know, I don't want to, you know, burden the other person? How did you filter?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, because I have ADHD and I have like no impulse control. So it was never anything disrespectful that I posted. No. It was more like taking blame for things and accountability, because I buried myself into work and rescuing dogs and totally neglected that side of my life. And that's what kind of led to the demise, right? So when I was doing these posts, she respectfully reached out to me and said, please remove all of those. And I totally get it. I get it. She doesn't want her life out there. So, but at the same time, it's like my healing is this way through social media too, because that's kind of like what I'm obsessed with as well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's therapeutic for sure to get it out.
100%.
Yeah, and you forget that people watch this stuff. Like sometimes I'll post stuff and I'm more thinking like, oh, just people are going to see it for 2-3 seconds and then scroll on, because that's kind of what we all do. But when you get to that space where you get a little bit more vulnerable and a little bit more real, and maybe, you know, show the other side of the coin, which is that things aren't always great. It is shocking the amount of people that come to support and have a similar story or needed to hear what you just said. And it is a platform that, you know, is the highlight reel. But I think that's when people, and let's face it, maybe prospective clients, they connect with you in that 100%. Way. And, you know, there is, we've all gone through ups and downs in our business, and it's not all just solds and just listeds. It's, you know, I was worked with somebody for 6 months and then I was ghosted. Like, I mean, who doesn't have the story? But, you know, for you, it's women and maybe young women that are getting into the business that it resonates with. For me, you know, it's maybe a peer group or other people that may or past clients or whatever. I mean, who you just don't know who you can kind of touch with these.
Well, and it's the power of social media. I mean,
it is.
Look at how far I've progressed with saving dogs from LA kill shelters in a different country. Being on the Dodo, being on like all these international media sites. Now so many people have joined my mission to save all these dogs, and I've saved 31 now since November.
Yeah, it's great.
So I mean, the power of social media is huge. And the way that we can, beneficially use this is to tell our story, be vulnerable, and people will attach on. People, they get attracted to that nowadays.
And it's genuine. It's authentic.
The more you can let people in on who you are, the more they feel like they're along for the ride with you, and they feel like they're on the journey with you. And that's really important. Like if you only post, my life is amazing, 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 there's nowhere for your audience to grow with you. But if you're authentic and you're open and you share your struggles and you share what you're working towards, and we have a common ground, then they feel like they're on the journey with you, and they will start to root for you, and you will create a really, really amazing community.
I think the power of that is you can't underestimate, and even I don't know if you followed in our brokerage, we've had a couple very sad stories of one gentleman taking his own life, and another gentleman was close, kind of had a letter out there stating that he couldn't go on, and they couldn't find him for hours. And I think by not seeing necessarily that, but seeing people's struggles, we realize that we're all collected, we're all into this together. We have more in common than we have, not in common, and that and it's also a good reminder to check in with our friends, check in with our partners, check in with our family, to make sure that we're holding each other accountable, and also supporting each other even when we think
Adam checked in on me many times.
Many times. And I'm happy to do it, because honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, we're here to work together and to and to collaborate together, but we're also here to care for each other a little 100%. Bit as well too. So I didn't expect this to go into a mental health session, but it's good. I don't think we've really talked about this on the podcast
it's
before.
Good.
So let's go. Let's pivot to that. So So now you're doing speaking engagements. You're doing obviously a ton of social media posts. Where's Lindsey's next 5 years going to reside? Where do you think you're kind of taking yourself?
I would love to continue speaking. A lot of people don't know this, but I failed high school speech class because I was so scared to speak in front of people.
Which blows my mind because you're amazing at it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I really only started speaking like maybe a year and a half ago. And I remember I was actually just telling the story to an agent this morning. I remember like the first time I was asked to speak on a panel, I almost faked sick to get out of it because I was that terrified. And I did it. And then after, I was like, you know what? I feel so accomplished. I'm just going to go throw my own event, my own social media event. So I threw that with one of my friends, Kat Massetti, again, like leaning on the fact that if I were to do it alone, I'd be too scared. So I, had a friend do it with me.
Was that your prom? Is that the thing that you did?
So I've thrown, I want to say 7 events now.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we do Sell with Social event, which is an event for realtors to teach them how to sell on social media. And then Realtor Prom is like our fun one. So we've done, I want to say 2 Sell with Socials, 2 or 3 Realtor Proms. And we just did an Elevate event where we had, do you guys know Daniel G?
Daniel G.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you would know him if you saw him on
Probably.
Instagram. So we had Mark Shapiro and Daniel G.
Okay.
Daniel G has like 4 million followers. I don't even know how we got him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
flew down.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I'll show you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had like 480 agents sign up to come, and I think we had 225 bodies in the room.
Wow.
But anyways, long story short, I wanted to put myself in those really uncomfortable situations of growth. And I knew that I could grow a lot faster if I just created those opportunities for myself. So I was like, you know what? Instead of waiting to be asked to speak on another panel, I'm just going to go and create the stage for myself. Was that even the question? I don't even know why I started talking
No.
about that.
I mean, it's where you see yourself going in 5 years, but
got it.
obviously speaking is going to be a big part of that. So
Yeah.
Why do you need to speak? What's the kind of the goal for that?
Yeah, I think for me, it started as me just wanting to grow. And I wanted to put myself in the most uncomfortable situations to grow. I think, especially with my mom's illness, when she was diagnosed, I thought about all the things in her life that she didn't get to do and will never now get to do because of fear. And I just decided, like, I don't want to let fear hold me back. And I think sometimes we think of fear as a bad thing. Fear is not a bad thing. It's designed to protect us. Like, think of fight or flight.
Yeah.
If we're in a bad situation, fear kicks in to really help keep us safe. But I literally have conversations with fear. I sound like a psychopath, but I literally will say, like, okay, fear, like, thank you for trying to protect me. You're in the driver's seat right now. I'm going to put you in the passenger seat, and now I'm going to move forward and do the scary thing because it's going to cause me to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it was two parts. Like, I want to grow as a human, and I don't want to get to the end of my life and realize that I missed out on these life experiences that I was supposed to have because of fear.
Yeah.
And then I think also with my mom's illness too, just realizing, like, she's missed out on so many things in her life because of fear. So, and if not me, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Too,
I mean, you
what
only live
Like,
once. You can't live in regret, right?
yeah.
And all these things,
Yeah.
like you said, they help you grow and
Yeah.
they attract a lot of people, right? Because so many people are scared to do these things. But then your courage will, influence someone, be like, and inspire people to do it, right? Which is amazing.
That's huge for me. Like, me inspiring other women, because I've lived it now. It was like I would used to sit and be in the audience and watch women on stage, and I would say that's so great for them, but it will never be me. Like, I said that to myself so many times. I would listen to podcasts and I would say that's so great for her, but it will never be me because the fear is too great. So I want to encourage other women that they can do this. Like, it's so important to me. Like, I'm so passionate about it. So that's really where I see myself in 5 years.
Amazing.
Like, an actual all women's event is my next event. And just really encouraging women to, like, go after what they want in their life and show them that they can be confident and authentic and vulnerable.
Where does this come from? Where does this like need almost and want to, give back to women? Like, was this something that your mom instilled in you? Is this something that you've just developed over time? It feels like everything that you're doing, you want people to see and use you as a, inspirational piece or motivational piece maybe to do this. Where does this come from?
I think it just comes from that time when I was depressed and scrolling social. I really do. And I feel like I didn't know who to go to for help, and I didn't see anybody that I could go to for help. I didn't see anybody being authentic. And so I think it comes from that place of never wanting to go back there and feel that way, but also be that person for women to know that they can come to me. You can come to me if you're struggling, and I'm going to encourage you and lift you up, and I'm going to tell you how to get out of there and go into this next phase of your life.
So you're that person for a lot of women. Is there?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
No, you are. I've seen it.
Thanks.
And it's amazing, and it's a beautiful thing. Now, do you have someone that you look to now? I know you said there wasn't before, but now has someone evolved into that piece that you look up to and is there for you and inspires you, motivates you?
Not as a woman, no. But I mean, from afar, Lindsey Schwartz, who owns Powerhouse Women, is like a huge inspiration to me. So I do look to, like, a lot of her stuff. I went to her Powerhouse Women event in Arizona and Scottsdale to kind of get ideas for mine. Nobody that's, like, directly in my life though that I can kind of go to that's a woman.
Okay.
Is this what drives you? Is to kind of be that inspiration?
Oh, 100%. Because there's nobody right now in my mind. There's no one. So I need to be that for everyone else. And I'm sure there's somebody out there one day that I will cross paths with that, will mentor me. But
do you feel
until then,
a pressure? Do you feel, is this purely from just, own your own self, or do you feel a pressure to maybe be that person for people? And is that tough to do? Because again, going back to our original conversation of, like, vulnerability and, not seeing the cracks, do you feel like you can't sometimes share because you feel like you may be an
much
inspiration.
pressure?
Yeah, too much pressure and inspiration to somebody else.
Wow.
No.
Not at all. I don't feel the pressure at all. I feel like, as cheesy as it sounds, I do feel like this is kind of my life's purpose, is to be kind of this person for women. And I think vulnerability is like a muscle. The more you work that muscle, the easier it becomes. So it's not difficult for me. And I think, just shifting that perspective and saying there's a girl out there that needs to see this is so helpful, because immediately I'm not thinking about likes, validation, how many people share it, how many people are talking about it behind my back. It doesn't matter to me because I'm thinking about her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the girl that needs to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The avatar.
Yeah.
The avatar.
Okay, so we know a lot about you in a serious manner.
Yeah.
And lately, like, you went to Miami, had a good time.
I did.
You let loose. So what does Lindsey do for fun? We know about Miami,
Yeah.
or some people don't, but what else do you like to do for fun?
I'm working on it. I'm going
This is such a realtor answer.
it's like,
I
oh.
would give the same thing. What do you do for fun, Adam? I have no idea.
I know. I am going back to Miami November 1st through 3rd for like Halloween. I'm going to go be
nice.
back with the
Oh,
same
fun.
group of girlfriends.
Nice.
But, I don't really have much of a
God,
life.
this is such an answer for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had that question too. Like, what do you do for fun? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm like, I don't know.
I guess I
You know
don't
what? Like,
work.
this podcast is fun for me.
Yeah.
It's work, but it's
Yeah.
fun, and I just get to hear the sound of my own voice over and over and over again. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, for fun, it's like there really is no time for fun.
Yeah.
With all the things that
Yeah.
you have going, that you have going, that I have going, it's like there's really no time.
Yeah.
So you kind of immerse yourself into these things, and like, again, social media is fun, content's fun.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot
Right.
of fun things. I have a lot. I think we all have to love what we do and every aspect of what we do, and I consider that
true.
fun, right? So.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so true. I think your work your content has to feel like fun, because there's not enough time in the day to do it all,
No.
so it's got to be like that fun aspect for you.
For sure.
so we'll wrap up here, but I've got one more like kind of question
Yeah.
for you, which is, again, females, women, they, look at you. You're kind of a inspiration, motivational person for them. If there's a female out there right now that is like, I, am either just stepping into the business or I want to get into the business, kind of what is your advice to them when they start in real estate?
That's a good question. I would say, honestly, jump on a team.
Yeah.
Because that's what helped you.
Leads.
Yeah,
You need leads. So I would jump on a team for a year, 2 years, get some contracts under your belt, figure out how to get business, and then I would jump off of it. Or stay on it. Like, I jumped on a team and I stayed for 7, almost 8 years, because it was a great situation for me. I'm also very loyal, so change is hard for me. And so I felt I probably should have left 3 years before I actually left. But it was like, I joined that team when I was 22, and that was my mentor, and she taught me everything.
Yeah.
And
How was the
so
breakup with that team?
It was okay. It
Yeah.
was totally, I had learned everything that I could learn from that relationship, and that's what you want. Like, as a team leader, there would be something wrong if I didn't grow enough to eventually leave the team.
I
You know?
guess-
like, there would be something wrong.
Follow-up question for you on this, because
Yeah.
this is really important when you're talking about teams, and I talk to agents about this all the time, about
Yes.
teams, what to look for when
great
interviewing
question.
a team, because not all teams are created equal when it comes to training, mentoring, and helping new agents. So what do you look
Yeah.
for?
If I was brand new, I would look for a team that has Zillow Flex.
Okay. That won't help us in
Okay.
Canada.
Canada, that doesn't help.
Oh, no, you guys don't have Zillow Flex? You
No,
have Zillow?
Like-
Zillow's not a thing in Canada,
So-
or very
What
small
in
thing.
the world?
No, I know.
A lot of these, so the privacy in Canada,
Yeah.
you really can't do leads up here. Those type of lead companies, they don't really work
What?
up here.
Yeah, I know.
There's
It's
too many privacy laws. So everyone typically on doing real estate this side of the board as well, it's all through networking,
Yeah.
social media. It's through
Wow.
like
Yeah.
cold calling, not really cold calling and door knocking, but
But we do have online leads, so
they're usually really bad.
Yeah, they're
really bad.
They're not great. They're not all created equal. If you want to know what are better ones and what are worse ones, reach out to us. We'll tell you. But yeah, I mean, so a lead generation system, let's just call it, for that a team lead has that then can, hand off to new agents. That's what you look for when you're looking at joining teams. Okay.
Yeah, and I personally would look for a smaller team.
Okay.
That's something that it wasn't something that I was looking for initially, but something that I'm super grateful now, all these years later, is that I really, it was just me and her. And so I got to sit down on every single conversation. I was in the car with her constantly. I got to learn how she navigated conversations, and it's literally all the tools that I use today.
Yeah.
So make sure that you join a team, in my opinion, that would be smaller and that you can really be mentored by that person. Yeah. Don't get sold like a big shiny object on like a 40-person team when the team lead is great, but then you're never talking to the team lead, Sure.
100%. That's a
last question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you get more leads? Zillow?
Where do I get more leads?
Zillow or social media?
Oh gosh, you know what? They're kind of neck and neck right now in terms of this year. It always fluctuates. I did just increase my Zillow spend, so probably more Zillow at this point. I think the quality, I don't know. They're both great. They're both great. I would say, but a third Zillow, a third Instagram, a third past client sphere referral.
Wow.
So if people want to contact you or follow you or whatever, what are your socials? Tell us so we can pass along.
Instagram, so I'm Lindsey Jo, LINDSEYY_Jo, and send me a DM and I will respond. I promise.
She does.
Nobody ever takes me serious. I do.
She does.
I do.
Sometimes it takes days and weeks. No. No, she responds right away. She's great.
That's always good advice. Always respond to the DMs. You never really know who's in there.
Oh my gosh, of course.
And some people don't. Some people don't respond to their DMs, which is shocking.
Yeah, respond to your DMs. That's how you build a community, for sure, especially if you're trying to grow.
100%.
I'll give you a little growth tip too.
Go for it.
On Instagram, just like in the DMs, it just reminded me. So one thing that I did to kind of like really create that community is I would do Instagram story posts that had like a quiz feature, like a guess the price feature if I was going through like a listing or something like that. When you swipe up on the quiz or swipe up on the poll results, you can see everybody who's obviously like answered that poll or engaged with that story, and there's a little message button next to each one. So I would literally copy and paste the same response for everybody who said yes, everybody who said no, and that was the easiest way for me to have 100 to 150 conversations with my Instagram followers every time I would do that type of story post. And that's important because Instagram loves DMs. Yeah. They think of that as a very personalized relationship. You're like in a private setting with somebody else. So Instagram then pushes your content more in that person's feed. So you're getting more visibility, with your feed posts and with your story posts if you're in those DMs.
No, amazing. Do you ever do like social media masterclasses or anything?
I don't, but you know what? They're all in my BAM articles. So I wrote one every single Monday for like 17 and a half months now. So there's, I don't want to say like 70 articles.
So the secret sauce is there. So we can copy exactly what you're doing.
It's all there. Amazing. Yeah. It's all there. And I have 2 highlights on my Instagram page that has the majority of those articles linked. So you can click through and you can see all the different ones. And then if there's something that you don't see, just DM me. Just DM me anyways, and I'll send you the link. It'll take me 5 minutes.
So everyone DM her. Just annoy her.
BAM Media.
Yes.
Lindsey Jo on Instagram. Thank you so much for being a part of the Subject Free podcast. We really appreciate your time.
This season 2 kickoff.
Thank
you so much. You guys will see each other at Real.
At Rise, We'll say hi at Rise.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Subject Free podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, rate, and review. Until next episode, we hope you're going in subject free.